Good morning. I have a surprise for everybody today. So, as this NAR ruling has gone from July to November to August, and talking with many of the accountability groups and what makes them great in Compass fashion, this is an LFR, as I'd say, learning from reality. There, can we all agree on this? There's a real need for more role playing in practice. Do you guys all feel that? And if you don't, you should, right? Because look, confidence is the number one thing that you need to show up with as these changes happen, right? Because if you're not confident in you, your services, your ability to talk to people, to understand what people want before you even start speaking, do you know what place you show up from? Can anyone take a guess? Unmute yourself. I want to hear from a couple of you before we start.
Desperation.
Desperation. What else?
Sometimes a mindset of scarcity or fear.
Scarcity or fear. Chad, where do they show up from?
I just think your people will be able to see right through you if you're not showing that confidence.
Yep.
Inexperience.
Inexperience, Bill?
You come off like an amateur.
An amateur. So there's a thing called the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's if the way that your subconscious mind works, it can't delineate a negative thought from a positive thought. So if you show up fearful, are they going to choose me? Do they want my service? Will they pay my fee? Your exact experience is going to project onto them what you don't want, right? Confidence comes from consistency, right? Why do you think, for anyone that's a basketball fan, why do you think Ray Allen hit that crazy shot to help win the Heat the championship? Because he's taken that shot 100 times, hundreds, right? Like, why do you think people are great at things? It's because the consistency of repetition, right? If you don't know how to follow a sales process and a system, you will not show up in the way that you want to show up. Period. End of story. And all of those things happen look, our body is built for like self-preservation. So when we're going into these meetings and we're like, are they going to choose us? Will they pay my fee? Will I have money? If I don't have money, I can't eat. If I don't have money and I can't eat, it goes through the cycle. And all of a sudden you kind of just show up as this crazy person you don't realize, and you're losing touch with what's really important. It's the other person. I will say this time and time again, moving, especially buying a home, sucks. Like, it completely sucks. Selling a home and moving your life sucks too. And they're hiring us as a conduit to help them get from one place to another. And they're investing tens of thousands of dollars so a challenging situation can be as simplified as possible. Does that make sense? So for these next 3 months, instead of doing prospecting, we're going to be doing role playing. So that means that we're all going to have to show up, turn our cameras on. And what I find is really helpful is other agents watching other people do it, right? Because people have said all the time, like, how do you role play? How do you practice? How do you show up? How do you critique somebody? You want to make it challenging and realistic, but you don't want to make it like so simple that it's like, it's never going to be like that in the game. You also don't want to make it so difficult that it's completely unrealistic that the person feels like crestfallen and like, oh man, I can never do this. So it all begins and ends with one thing, the Med C, right? And our goal in doing this is getting to the place and like what success looks like. At the end of it, I could say, hey, Chad, just want to repeat back everything you said to make sure I 100% heard or listened to everything you said. Your motivations is this, what you're most excited about this, your expectations of an agent you partner with are this, your past disappointments that you're really looking to avoid are this, and ultimately these are the concerns that keep you up at night. Is there anything that I didn't hear correctly or anything that's coming to mind you want to add? And at that point, and when you can do that, the deal is yours to lose, because there's an emotional connection of trust, rapport, feeling heard, feeling seen, that this person understands me. And by the way, in the end, we're still salespeople. We know exactly what to sell to, right? But until you get to that phase of mastery, the next phase in this is learning all the tools in our tool belt, right? Like, how do we guide a conversation thoughtfully that brings them through all of those stages, right? And that's really the buyer consultation and the listing consultation. Right. So there's a lot of ambiguity around, well, do I do all these things without them signing for me? Yeah, you have to demonstrate value, right? Like, we have to go on webinars and do training to demonstrate a value for you to choose to work with us, right? And then when you choose to work with us, people will continue to stay because you demonstrate value and service over an ongoing period of time. It's a simple process. So we need 2 people to volunteer to role play. I will spotlight both of you. We'll go through the Med C, and then I will critique you, and then we'll go to 2 more. All right, Martha, I'm going to volunteer you first. Yes. So I'm going to pin Martha. Oh, no, hold on. Bear with me here. All right, who's one other volunteer that we have?
I'll go.
Who's that?
Parker from DC.
Yes. All right, hold on. I'm finding you in this. There you are. All right, so who wants to be today's Monday, today's seller day. So who wants to be, actually, we're just talking about buyers. So who wants to be the buyer and who wants to be the agent?
I'll be the buyer.
Okay. Perfect. And remember, the frame of this conversation is saying, hey, Martha, I have a few really important questions. Would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions so we could solely focus our time talking about the things that are most important to you? All right. So the other thing is, I'm bringing this back out. I'm bringing out my stopwatch. We want to start seeing how fast we could go through this. When performance is measured, performance grows, right? You want to be able to do this in like 5 minutes or less. So when you meet somebody at an open house on the go, like this is like, all right, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Hey, Martha. So good to meet you today. Is it all right if I ask you a few questions so we can really focus in on what your goals are for your real estate purchase?
Yeah, sure. That sounds like a good idea. Thank you.
Fantastic. So what brought you to this open house today?
Well, I'm currently downsizing and I'm looking for a smaller home. I like this neighborhood, so I'd like to be somewhere close to here. I'm relocating from an area further away, so I have a new job and time is of the essence to me.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you need something a little bit smaller than what you have. You like the area that we're in right now and you're relocating. Can I ask you, do you mind if I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Great. Why are you downsizing?
My daughter's grown. I just don't want to take care of a big house anymore. My husband and I don't need it. So it's just the 2 of us and our dog, and we don't need a 5-bedroom home anymore.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you're looking for something a little bit smaller to start your next chapter in.
That's correct.
Okay, and have you already sold your other property? Do you need that sale to purchase this home?
I don't need the sale to purchase this home. It is currently on the market with, a contingency, obviously, that I find another place. So I do have it actively marketed and I do not have to sell it, but I don't want to carry 2 mortgages much longer than I have to.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. So, do you have any other hopes for your next
All
property?
right, ready? Pause. I'm gonna
Sorry.
pause. Okay, don't say sorry. This is what this is for, right?
Okay.
So look, I'm going to go through where I have some good highlights and some suggestions. Number one, you want to practice the frame. Would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions so we can solely focus our time together talking about the things that are most important to you? Now, if you're at an open house, we could solely focus our conversation, right? What brought you to the open house was the M in the Med C. It was a different way of asking what are your motivations. You did an excellent job echoing back. Now you asked her, do you mind if I ask you a quick question? Well, you already told her you're going to ask questions, so it becomes redundant, right? Why are you downsizing? If that's really what are you most excited about? So when you start asking people why questions, it could feel like you're interrogating. Like, why are you doing this? We don't have a question. We don't have a right to ask somebody that question, right? Like, well, they're strangers to us. They haven't hired us or anything else. So you could ask, say, what are you most excited about happening as a result of, and then you could bring in what their motivation was, right? And then you went off script, right? Like it's expectations, right? So if you're at an open house, instead of saying, what are your expectations of an agent you partner with? It's like, what would your expectations be of an agent you envision working with that you feel you can't do on your own? Or instead of that, you could say, what do you envision an agent doing for you that you feel you can't do on your own if you were to choose to work with one, right? Put the if in there, right? So remember, it's always their choice, right? So remember this, the whole point of this is to go through this in a very curated way. So you get a very specific data set on. So then you're able to do what's called needs-based selling. You're going to sell to their specific needs, because if you don't know what problem you're solving, the context they want the problem solved through, the conversion rate goes down. Right. The other part to this is when you're doing this and no one else is really trained, right? Like, think about this. How many people, there'll be 4 times as many people in an actual training session than there'll be in a practice session. So what does that tell you? Like, this is like a dirty thing that no one thinks it's taboo. People don't like doing it, right? Chad's on here. He's a trained salesperson. He knows people have to practice, right? Like, he practices, right? It's like anything else. So when we do the things that nobody else wants to do, we get quantifiable results that are better than everyone else. So I want you to try running this back now. And that was only in 2 minutes, right? So let's try this again and we'll go to the next step. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hi, welcome to the open, sorry, you go first. I'm sorry, but can we take that again?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead,
So
Mark.
you want me to start? So just
Yeah.
starting from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, I would like to know a little bit more about the property. What can you tell me about this home that I may not see by walking around?
Great. Well, first off, thank you so much for coming today. My name's Parker. And would it be okay if I asked you a few questions so we can really focus our conversation today?
Sure, that sounds okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. So what is it that brought you to this open house?
Well, I'm currently in the process of moving. I've had a change of jobs and I'm downsizing. I like this area. So when I saw the open house advertised, I wanted to come in and look. I don't know if this is the right one for me, but I'm open to looking at other homes in this area.
Great. So what I hear you saying is that you're downsizing and that you really like the area that this property is located in.
I do. I like the walkability and the charm of the area. It very much appeals to me.
Okay, great. So, so I take it that you're selling your current property?
The current property is on the market. I don't have to sell to buy another property, but I obviously don't want to carry 2 mortgages any longer than I have to. So I'd like to find another place before that one goes under contract.
Great. So it sounds like you're ready to move on to your next chapter and not carry on 2 mortgages. And I totally understand that. What makes you excited about this area?
Well, as I said, I like the walkability of it and the charm of it. It reminds me of where I grew up. So I like that. I like the small kind of, hometown feel to it. And but yet everything is available. So I like that very much.
So it sounds like if you found a property that in this area that was really walkable to restaurants and entertainment, possibly the metro, you would really like to go after that property.
I would. Yeah, I'm not interested in, I don't want like a townhome. I want a single family home. I'd like something with a little bit of a yard. Do you know of anything like that?
Well, I do, but just so I'm clear, would it be okay if I repeat it back to you, what I've heard so far?
Thank you. Yes.
Great. It sounds like that you're really excited about this neighborhood, particularly because you like the walkability, you like the hometown feel. It does remind you of your childhood. And that you're really hoping to downsize into a smaller single family home, and that you don't need to sell your current home that you're in to purchase this next home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did I
Yes.
miss anything, or did anything else come to mind when we were chatting?
No, I don't think so. I guess, no, I know you did a good job.
Okay.
For the
And
details.
so
Thank
you're welcome. And so moving forward, if you could wave your magic wand, what would be, sorry, I lost it.
It's
I
okay.
really,
Go ahead.
um, so moving forward, I want to be able to manage your expectations. What are your hopes in a partnership with an agent that you might work with in the future?
Well, I'd like somebody that
All
knows.
right, pause. All right. Good job. But listen, you take it, like,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson always says everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face. And look, I'm going to unpin both of you. Thank you, Parker.
No, you're what? Thank you. This was awesome.
So look, here's the thing. The whole point of doing this here, and some of the best salespeople that we've created, we're doing this exact exercise, right? We've done, and we're going to be bringing the clock into this more and more. Can anyone give her feedback? Chad, I'm going to call on you just because you've trained a sales team before.
Yeah. I think you're getting the general gist of it. It's just practicing the script. And when you practice the script over and over, you'll start with, do you mind if I ask you a few questions that will help me focus these questions solely on your needs? Buying a home is like paying taxes. It's something that's not always exciting, but it's something we always have to do. Like the more you practice it, it's going to become second nature.
And when you say the scripts, sorry, I've just been focusing on the sell side this year in this program. The scripts that are in the seller.
The same thing, the same Med C works for anyone, right?
Got
So,
Okay.
it's the buyer one is you use the taxes, but on the sell side, right? If I was meeting a listing, if I was going on a listing appointment, right before I went, I would call you up and I would say, hey, I'd say, hey, Parker, how are you? Chirag from Compass. You can say, hey, it's great. I would say, would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions so we can solely, right? That's the word they want to hear. Solely focus our conversation on the things that are most important to you. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's now 100%, right? You're going to say, there's nothing fun about unpacking, packing up your house and going, so, what makes this the right time to make a move for you in your life and your family, right? As a result of moving, what are you most excited about happening? In partnering, what are your expectations of an agent you partner with for the sale of your home? In an effort to meet and exceed your expectations, it's important for us to understand what past disappointments you might have had with agents or service providers so we can ensure none of those happen during this process. And ultimately, do you have any concerns? Like, what are the things that keep you up at night? And this is where you want to start planting the things that like low inventory, interest rate, I need to sell my house first, like any of these things, and you let them talk. And at the end, you're going to say, what it sounds like, what makes this the right time to make a move is blank. What you're most excited about happening result is a blank. Your expectations as an agent are blank and blank. Your past disappointments around blank and blank that you want to ensure don't happen during this process. And ultimately, this is what's keeping you up at night. I just want to make sure I heard everything you said. And the important part about expectations, let them say their expectations, right? And from there, make sure you ask them, what are your expectations around communication? Now, where this all goes wrong is people, instead of asking, what are your expectations of an agent you partner with, they get right into, what are your expectations around communication? That is not the script, right? So If this is what you're doing here, think about what the experience is like for your client. I'm telling you, if I had to bet everything in my life that I've owned, I've accumulated, and I have, I'm going to put it on all of you that the people that practice the most are going to win the most. Because here's the thing, when you have to pay for something, especially with all of this media headlines, like, you know, when somebody's running at you full speed, the fastest way to knock them down is just go like this and use the momentum against them. So they have all this stuff in their brain. So we want it not like push against it like this, like most people do. We want to use it just to just push the other people aside. Right. And so the more skilled you are at doing this, the more luxury the experience will feel. The more confident you have, the better you're going to show up. And the easier it's also going to be to say no for clients. Right. Because the thing about luxury is it's exclusive and it's not for everybody. Right. Meaning when you're doing these presentations, these people should not feel that like that you offer some generic service that's offered by 15 other people. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add on?
Sure. Can I just add one thing?
Mhm.
You already addressed this previously, but from the receiving end, I just want to say that Parker did a great job. But in the first part, when she asked me why I was downsizing, I immediately felt, well, just kind of personal, you know, and then you mentioned that afterwards. And I think I was surprised that I felt that way. I was surprised that I felt, why is she asking me why I'm downsizing? But then when you were talking afterwards and you were saying we don't really have the right to ask that, it's kind of a personal question or however you phrased it, it makes sense to me. So as a agent, I think it was an important learning thing for me to remember that that's not something that I want to ask somebody because it did feel personal.
Would it be helpful if I did this once as the agent for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who wants to be the buyer? You know what, Parker? You get to be the buyer and you get to give me shit now. So,
I'm not gonna give you anything.
all right. No, I need somebody who wants to make this challenging for me. Who wants to step up? Bill. There you go. We got a New Yorker in the house. Spotlight. All right. So I'm having a conversation with Bill. I'd say, hey, Bill, appreciate you taking the time to chat today. Would it be okay before we started if I asked you a few really important questions so we could solely focus our time together on what's most important to you?
Well, I really just came by to see the house.
Great. So no problem. So, you know, I know you're a busy guy. It's the weekend. So what really motivated you to take the time on a weekend to take a look at this property?
Well, we're going around. We just started looking. So, you know, we saw this on Zillow and we put it on our tour.
Got it. So you're just in the information gathering process. Makes sense. And, you know, in looking for a new home, what would you be most excited about happening as a result if you found the perfect property?
Uh, Excited. I mean, I don't know. We want to find a place that feels like home.
Got it. And, you know, I know you currently live somewhere. So what specifically about the next place would really make it feel like home and a place that you ultimately want to make a huge life transition for?
Well, we want to move into a place that's a little smaller than our current place. We just don't want the upkeep. A nice neighborhood, quiet. I mean, that's really what we're looking for.
Neighborhood, quiet, downsize, less upkeep. Okay, got it. Makes sense. And look, completely understand you're looking on your own. If you were to work with an agent, what do you envision the agent doing for you that you feel you can't do for yourself?
Uh, Everything. I mean, I want them to find us places that really fit what we're looking for. Make it easy to see. Um, I mean, I've been through buying and selling houses before, and it's been a nightmare most of the time. So I just want it easy. Uh, I want a great deal. Um, and that's what I'm looking for.
Got it. So you envision an agent really providing you a luxury experience where it's similar to hospitality and that everything is done for you, finding you a great deal and making it simple in the process.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Got it. And you had shared that it was a disaster in the past, and to really meet and exceed those expectations, it's important to understand what disappointments happened in the past so we can ensure they don't happen again in the future.
Well, I want to be updated like immediately. I want to know what's going on. Um, I want real data when we're ready to make an offer, because one time my agent just lied to us flat out and we overpaid for a place. And I know you guys get paid on commission, and the higher the price, the more you make. So I am not looking for that.
So it sounds like really where the disappointments were around communication, collaboration, and the lack of a data-driven approach.
Yeah, I want to make sure that when we're making an offer, it's a smart offer.
100%. So I'll make sure to add, I'm just taking a note in terms of expectations, not a problem. And ultimately, Bill, like what keeps you up at night? Is it in making a move? Is it finding the right place, knowing it sounds like this will be a place that you'll be at for the foreseeable future? Is it interest rates, lack of inventory, possibly having to sell or rent your home out before you buy? What is it for you and your family?
Well, I mean, we do have to do the sell to buy thing, so that's always because we've done that before. That's always kind of frustrating. Um, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of homes on the market right now, and everything seems to, have multiple offers.
God, it's really establishing that multiple path timeline. So, Bill, would it be okay if I just repeated back what I heard to make sure that I heard and really listened to everything you said correctly?
Sure.
What really motivated you is today is you just saw a house and you're in the beginning stages of your home tour. What you're excited about is finding a nice, quiet neighborhood with a home that has less square footage with no upkeep. Your expectations of an agent you partner with really around the luxury experience and everything that's just done for you. And the things that are most important around communication, collaboration, and really doubling down on a data-driven approach for making an offer. Your past disappointments really around were lack of clarity, communication, and people just completely misleading you. What's really keeping you up at night is the fact that you have to sell and buy and they're limited inventory. And in the past, you have to do both these timelines. Is there anything you feel that I missed or that you feel is important to add on?
Uh, no, I mean, can I see the house?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make sure just for an idea of now that you've shared these, I can more purposely point things out through the house through some of those initial filters that you shared so you can have an idea of what it's like for us to partner together.
Okay. All right.
Yep. All right, guys. Bill, give me some feedback.
Um, I mean, I tried to be tough on you because this is what I get at open houses in New York. I mean, but you were great. But I have one question. At an open house, how do you think we should deal with the question of, do you have an agent? Like, I don't ask that. I ask,
I wouldn't ask
who are
that
you
either because
working with?
it's a smoke question, right? Like it's a smoke screen. I'm gonna say I have an agent because I don't want to be solicited by a salesperson,
Right,
right?
I get that.
I literally would just say, I would say, so how are you going about the process and finding homes that fit your unique needs, right? And then the next question I'd ask them is, are you only looking for homes that are on the market that are available to everybody else, right? Then the next question I'd ask them is, and they're going to say no, you're going to say, okay, great. Like, look, I work in a community full of real estate agents, and my reputation and collaboration is really important to me. And why that's important to you is if you're working with somebody, I would have to proactively reach out to them because there's a contractual relationship, right?
Mm.
So are you currently working with somebody or you just and say this, are you in the information gathering phase, right? Like people like that, right? So it's just a nice, smooth way of doing this. And look, these you got to remember this from the client end. Every agent that's doing an open house, 6 to 8% of homes a year sell from open houses.
Yeah.
They're there to get new clients. The clients know it and you know, right? So you don't want to have the same like FBI, are you working with somebody? Like as soon as they walk through the house, right? Like I came there to look at the house, and the first thing you want to know is that. So it's like, it's just ask them these questions and practicing them, right? Then the other thing is when you're mindfully doing something and measuring the performance, then it's really easy to ask questions and start mentally processing what the responses are.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So I would encourage all of you to come back for the next session. Was this helpful for everybody today? I'm telling you, this is the movement here. Like, I'm excited about this for all of us. Because here's the thing, when you master these skills, it's like riding a bicycle. You own them forever, right? And if you're not in this ecosystem or community, you're never going to talk like this. Never. It's not going to happen. So no matter what you do, it's always going to be different than everyone else. And I didn't close, I didn't sell, I didn't say anything. Bill was trying to be difficult because of the questions I asked him. He naturally opened up and told me that he needs to sell his house. So we're going to be working with the accountability groups that everyone needs to be practicing 3 times, 4 times a week. Like if you don't want to lose money, practice. If you're open to losing money, don't practice. It's really like a simple question. That's it. All right, everybody. Love in my heart. I love you all. We're going to be talking about, again, addressing media headlines, right? Because all this stuff has shifted. So I'll see you at 11:30. If you're not doing anything at 12:30, hop back on. But I'm really going to double down, as Melissa Rubin says, my languaging and spending time with all of us each week going through these different things and objection handling and really going through the process. I want all of you to walk like me, talk like me, and sound like I'm in your pocket, right? That's it. All right, everybody. I will see you later. Bye.